7 years after I married into the Vance family, my first love, Dylan, returned home and became my boss. He even openly kissed my wife in her office. When I confronted him, he actually mocked me, implying I was being cuckolded. "Ethan," he sneered, "you've got a colorful head, better wear a hat to cover it." I shot back, "A hat would suit you better." My CEO wife was furious. She demanded an apology and threatened to fire me. But I calmly handed her my resignation letter. "Fine," I said. "As you wish." Scarlett stared at the resignation letter, practically going livid. "Ethan, if you have the guts to leave, then don't you dare come back." I walked out with my belongings, feeling light and free. Of course not. Not only that, I was getting a divorce. Cutting all ties with Scarlett. 7 years of being married into the Vance family, 7 years of enduring Scarlett. This time, I was never looking back. I arrived at Vance. Grandma was already waiting for me at the entrance, leaning on her cane. The moment she saw me, her heart ached, and she spoke, "Ethan, are you truly sure about the divorce?" I nodded, without the slightest hesitation. "Grandma, Dylan is back now, and Scarlett still hasn't forgotten him." Staying in the Vance family would only make things awkward for everyone. Besides, wasn't this decided long ago? 7 years ago, I willingly married into the Vance family, so you don't need to feel guilty. Hearing my words, Grandma still patted my shoulder apologetically. "Good child, as long as you thought it through. I've already booked your flight to leave in 3 days. And I'll have $80 million transferred to your account. I'm worried you might struggle when you are in a foreign country, unfamiliar with everything." I suppressed the urge to cry, nodding gratefully. I never imagined Grandma would be so thoughtful. 7 years ago, my sister Zoe was seriously injured in a car accident, and the driver fled. It was Grandma's charity foundation that saved Zoe and helped her with treatment and recovery. To repay her, I voluntarily married into the Vance family. I became a stand-in for Scarlett, the Vance family's eldest daughter's first love, and willingly signed a 7-year marriage contract. During his absence, I was to take good care of Scarlett, who had fallen into despair, and their child. Now, 7 years were up, and everything I owed the Vance family had been repaid. So, it was time for me to leave. Whether it was Scarlett or Dylan. From now on, they would no longer be a part of my world. "Grandma, please keep my departure a secret. I didn't want any unexpected complications with my leaving. Don't worry, I'm here. No one would dare stop you. If you ever feel too tired out there, just come back. Grandma will always be your strongest support." I looked at the little old lady with graying temples, feeling a surge of warmth in my heart. I never had a grandmother growing up, and Grandma had been like my own, taking care of me as if I were her own family. When scolded me or treated me coldly, Grandma always stood by my side. When spat on me or threw toys at me, Grandma always reprimanded him sternly. Yes, Leo's last name was Zhao. He was the child Scarlett, and Dylan had conceived during a drunken night. Scarlett said his name was a testament to their love, and it was a constant reminder to me that I was just an outsider who had married into the Vance family. "Grandma, you are getting old, and your legs aren't what they used to be. Let me help you upstairs to rest. For these last 3 days before I leave, I'm still your son-in-law. I should take good care of you." As I was helping Grandma upstairs, someone suddenly shoved me hard. The next second, my forehead hit the stair railing, and blood instantly gushed out. The pain made my face turn pale. Crimson blood dripped onto the floor, and I hadn't even had time to check the wound. A volatile voice then rang out. "Well, Ethan, so that's why you dared to defy me today, and even submit your resignation. You were planning to come back and complain, weren't you? Let me tell you, Vance is entirely under my control now. Even if you beg Grandma for mercy, there's no way I'll let you back into Vance." Scarlett had returned, full of bluster. She looked at my still bleeding forehead, frowning deeply, without a trace of guilt on her face. Grandma was startled by the sudden turn of events. She leaned on her cane, trying to check my injuries, but sternly ordered her staff to take Grandma to rest. Scarlett glared at me with disgust, then grabbed my collar and spoke slowly, Don't bother Grandma with our affairs. Fine. I didn't argue, letting the blood from my forehead drip. Seeing this, none of the surrounding staff dared to step forward to bandage my wound. After all, Scarlett was the mistress of the house. As she brushed past me, Scarlett suddenly spoke. By the way, what did you mean by 3 days, just now? Where are you planning to go? Nothing, just a friend's birthday. I casually made up an excuse. Scarlett didn't ask further. She went upstairs to her bedroom on her own. I watched her cold retreating back, then silently found the first aid kit and bandaged my wound. I forced a smile at the disfigured man in the mirror. I told myself it was fine. Just 3 more days, and this marriage, which existed in name only, would be over. Perhaps this was the best ending for Scarlett and me. The bedroom door was locked again by Scarlett. For 7 years, whenever I displeased her even slightly, she would silently lock the bedroom door, forcing me to stay in the worst staff quarters. It was originally a storage room, dark and damp, completely unfit for human habitation, but the staff could also see Scarlett's cold attitude towards me. To appease Scarlett, they deliberately threw away the keys to the other rooms, forcing me to stay in this dirtiest, worst room. Curled up on a simple cot, I tossed and turned. The wound from 3 years ago, when I took a knife for Scarlett, began to throb faintly. I barely slept a wink that night. The next morning at breakfast, Scarlett told me to attend Leo's parent-teacher conference. Leo, in a fit of anger, threw all his breakfast. No. He's not my dad. I want my dad to come to my parent-teacher conference. Hearing this, Scarlett's lips curled into a slight smile. Leo, be good. Mommy will bring Daddy home one day. My hand, holding the milk, silently froze. A bitter feeling welled up in my heart. I had diligently taken care of Leo for 7 whole years, and he bossed me around, never once calling me Dad. In his heart, I could never compare to the father who abandoned him and went abroad. Well, a child raised by others can never truly be yours. What's that expression? Wash the dishes, then take Leo to school. Scarlett frowned, ordering me to wash the dishes. She despised the dishwasher, claiming it didn't clean well enough, and always made me soak my hands in cold water, scrubbing away the grease bit by bit. Every time, I told myself in my heart. For Eleanor, for Zoe, I had to be a good stand-in for these 7 years, a good son-in-law to the Vance family. Even if my hands chapped from the icy water, I never complained. At school, Leo deliberately walked quickly ahead of me, trying to shake me off. I worried something might happen to him, and Scarlett would blame me. I hurried to catch up with him. Uncle, you are so slow. You don't deserve to be my dad at all. No wonder Mom didn't like you even after you tried to win her over for 7 years. Leo grinned, sticking his tongue out at me. A child's words are often the most hurtful. Watching his retreating figure, I stopped chasing. When I reached the classroom, I saw a man already sitting in front of Leo's parents' name tag. Daddy. Leo excitedly ran over and jumped into his arms. It was Dylan. He hugged Leo tightly and gave me a challenging smile. Hey, Leo, if he's your dad, then who's that guy behind you? I just saw him come with you. A classmate looked at me curiously. Leo's face instantly flushed with embarrassment. He's my husband's driver. We were too busy today, so we had the driver bring Leo. A familiar voice sounded from behind me. It was Scarlett. She had arrived at some point, naturally and intimately linking arms with Dylan. A driver. I looked at the intimate family of 3, a pang of bitterness in my heart. If that's what she wanted, then so be it. Anyway, I was leaving soon. By then, they should be just as happy, a true family of 3. Just as I turned to leave, Dylan suddenly called out to me. Ethan, that gift I gave you a few days ago, I think it suits your head better, don't you agree? Dylan's smile was triumphant and brazen. Listening to the laughter and chatter of the 3 behind me, my fists clenched and unclenched. Finally, I just silently walked out of the classroom. In the evening, I dutifully returned to the staff quarters to sleep, but suddenly burst in, apologizing for what happened during the day. Dylan wasn't supposed to go today, but he said he really missed his son, so I took him. And when Leo rushed into Dylan's arms, with so many kids watching, how could I say he wasn't Leo's dad? What would others think of him? Anyway, I was wrong today. Come back and sleep tonight. Don't sleep in the staff quarters. Scarlett wrinkled her nose at the damp room, not wanting to stay there for another second. She worried about what others would think of him. What about me? Was I just a driver? I smiled bitterly to myself. Then I calmly replied, no need. Sleeping here is perfectly fine. Scarlett stood still. I said, if you find this place distasteful, you can go back and sleep. I'm perfectly fine here. Scarlett's thoughts were exposed, and a hint of awkwardness appeared on her face. Then I'll be going. But at the door, she paused again. Tomorrow night, there's a gathering, and Mr. Davis from Davis will be there. Dylan has a stomach issue, and I remember you are good with drinks. Could you accompany Dylan tomorrow? Hearing this, I instantly understood Scarlett's intention behind her apology tonight. She was afraid Dylan would harm himself by drinking, so she softened her stance tonight. Also, I could host drinks on behalf of Dylan tomorrow. She certainly played her cards well. I had thought she had finally found her conscience. I knew about this project. It was crucial for Vance, and Grandma had been losing sleep over it. Seeing's hopeful gaze, I finally nodded, and said, okay. Consider it the last thing I do for the Vance family before I leave. At the gathering, Dylan carried a gift. Mr. Davis asked if it was for him. Dylan just smiled mysteriously and said it was for me. Dylan's stomach trouble flared up, so he apologizes to all of you executives. This is my subordinate, Ethan. He's an excellent drinker. Let him keep you company tonight. Dylan smiled and patted my shoulder. Thanks for your trouble, Ethan. Scarlett feels deeply for me, you see. But I've prepared a gift for you, as a token of my gratitude. He slightly opened the wrapping. It was the green hat he hadn't given away earlier. I looked at his triumphant gaze and spoke calmly. Don't worry, no one's fighting you for her. I've grown tired of Scarlett. Hearing this, Dylan's face instantly changed. He whispered in my ear, who do you think you are? You are nothing but my stand-in, Dylan's stand-in. You are so good at drinking, right? Believe it or not, I'll kill you later. As his words fell, Dylan deliberately poured me 3 full glasses of vodka. Ethan says he's very happy to meet all of you executives for the first time, so drink these 3 glasses. You gentlemen, please drink at your leisure. I looked at Scarlett beside me, her eyes darting away, with no intention of speaking up for me. I picked up the glasses, one after another, and drained them. It felt like a punishment to myself. Come on, Ethan, another 3 glasses for me. The glasses were refilled again, and Scarlett remained silent. The contract was signed late into the night. Scarlett was supporting Dylan, who had only drunk half a glass, and looked at me apologetically. Dylan says he's dizzy, and he's not used to riding in a car with other people. I'll take him home first. You can go back on your own. Watching her walk away elegantly with Dylan, I hugged a pillar and threw up all over the floor. I was such a fool, still daring to doubt Dylan's place in her heart. A metallic, bitter taste surged into my throat. A dense, sharp pain spread from my chest, slowly consuming me. When I woke up again, the smell of disinfectant filled my nostrils. I realized I had collapsed and ended up in the hospital. Grandma sat by my bedside, sighing incessantly. Ethan, why put yourself through this? You collapsed on the street last night. The doctor said you had alcohol poisoning. Do you know you almost died? I forced a smile, not wanting Grandma to worry. I'm fine, aren't I? I promised you that I would take good care of Scarlett for these 7 years and never let her be unhappy. For these last 3 days, I naturally have to keep that promise. Hearing my words, Grandma's eyes welled up again. She placed a divorce agreement in front of me. Good child, don't worry. I've already arranged everything. I'll arrange a stage death for you, so you have no worries and can go abroad to be with your sister Zoe. After Eleanor left, I received a text message from Scarlett. Couldn't make it home yesterday. Don't be a tattletale and tell Grandma. Also, are you okay after drinking so much yesterday? It's your birthday today, I'll come back to celebrate with you. No, there's no need. After a brief reply, I checked out of the hospital. For so many years, Scarlett always said she'd celebrate my birthday with me. But she never actually followed through. This last time, I had no expectations whatsoever. Sure enough, as dusk fell and I was about to board the plane, a text message suddenly popped up on my cell phone. Something came up tonight. I'll celebrate your birthday next time. This time, I didn't reply. Instead, I silently turned off my cell phone and boarded the flight to Switzerland. Goodbye forever, Scarlett. What I owed the Vance family was finally repaid. Meanwhile, Scarlett was accompanying Dylan to the hospital for a stomach checkup. Suddenly, she received a call from the assistant. Bad news, Scarlett. Your grandmother just called and said Mr. Vance passed away from alcohol poisoning due to excessive drinking. He couldn't be revived. What did you say? Scarlett's hand, holding the medical chart, trembled violently. Ethan was dead. Are you kidding me? He texted me at noon today. Now you are telling me he suddenly died. Are you sure he's not faking it to get my attention, jealous because I took Dylan home yesterday? Scarlett thought it over carefully, and then calmed down. It must be Ethan, seeing her take Dylan home yesterday, getting jealous. So he was deliberately putting on a show to get her attention. How could she fall for such a cheap trick? Scarlett smiled indifferently, relinking her arm with Dylan's. No, Scarlett, Ethan is really dead. But had no patience to listen further. She ruthlessly hung up the phone and accompanied Dylan to see the doctor for a follow-up. After receiving only a little medication, Scarlett left with Dylan. They went back to Dylan's house together and picked up Leo from school. The three of them laughed and chatted happily. When they arrived at Leo's house, Scarlett volunteered to cook. It's my first time cooking. Taste it and see if it's good. Dylan quickly praised her, holding Leo in his arms. If I could see you and our son every day, and have 3 meals like this, it would be wonderful. Leo also nodded in agreement. Mommy, I wish we could come to Daddy's house every day. But's expression suddenly changed when she heard this. She gently patted Leo's back. Leo, please don't tell your uncle that Mommy brought you to Daddy's house, okay? Leo nodded unhappily. I remember. Mommy, you've told me countless times. If knows, Grandma will definitely know too, and then she'll be upset again. In the evening, as they were about to leave, Dylan held Scarlett's hand, trying to persuade her to stay. Scarlett, can you stay tonight and keep me company? And our son, I miss him so much. Can stay here with me for one night too. Just as Scarlett was about to reply, her cell phone rang again. It was the assistant who had called that afternoon. Seeing frown, Dylan quickly seized the opportunity to speak deliberately. Scarlett, is Ethan angry that you didn't celebrate his birthday today, so he's making the assistant call you home? Otherwise, forget it. You and Leo go back and be with Ethan. Hearing this, a hint of disgust appeared on Scarlett's face. He's like a closed-off clam all day, and now he knows how to be jealous. Now he even dares to conspire with the assistant to trick me and get my attention. He's really getting bold. Birthdays come every year. I am not going back tonight. I line stay here with you. Let us see what other stunts he can pull. Seeing S face full of disgust, Dylan's lips curled slightly. Reversing his previous attitude, he continued to feign persuasion. But drank so much last night. Maybe he really needs someone to take care of him. I know his tolerance. 2 more bottles wouldn't be a problem for him. A little bit wouldn't cause him any harm. Leo, realizing he could stay tonight, excitedly threw himself into their arms. Great. I get to be with Daddy and Mommy. Scarlett looked at her son in her arms, and the man beside her, smiling blissfully. The next morning, after dropping Leo off at school, Scarlett passed a mall and suddenly remembered something. Yesterday was Ethan's birthday, and she had broken her promise again. But then she reconsidered. Who told Ethan to trick her into thinking he was dead? Originally, she had planned to accompany Dylan to his doctor's appointment, and then rush back that night. But suddenly pulled this stunt. She hated men who lied. Just as she was about to drive away, Her mind suddenly replayed the image of Ethan enduring the pain, drinking glass after glass that night. So stopped her car and casually bought a belt, intending to take it back as a gift for me. As she entered the house, she suddenly noticed the living room looked much emptier. But she didn't think much of it and just walked forward, intending to call out to me. "Ethan, where are you? I didn't break our plans on purpose yesterday. I'll celebrate your birthday with you next time. I brought you a gift." But after a long while, there was still no response. Scarlett sensed something was wrong. She walked to the staff quarters, where I used to live. She saw it was empty. Even the comforter I used to sleep under had been taken away. There was no trace of anyone having lived there. "Martha, where's Ethan?" A hint of panic finally appeared on Scarlett's face. A strong, ominous premonition slowly rose in her heart. Could really be dead. Martha heard the sound and hurried over. Seeing, she nervously bowed her head. Mr. Vance, he's gone. The night before last, he drank too much and suffered alcohol poisoning. Old Vance had him sent to the hospital for emergency treatment. Yesterday afternoon, Old Vance came back and had all of Mr. Vance's belongings burned. We just assumed that he might already be gone. After hearing Martha's words, Scarlett felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She stood frozen in place. Her heart felt suddenly empty. Impossible. This was impossible. How could Ethan die? He was clearly very good at drinking. He had 3 bottles just the day before yesterday. How could he get alcohol poisoning? Scarlett suddenly remembered something. She quickly knelt down and pulled out a box from under the bed. She skillfully unlocked the password, only to find that the wedding photos inside had also turned to ashes. Back then, when Dylan had just gone abroad, she didn't like Ethan. But she was already pregnant, and Grandma was anxious for her to get married. So she reluctantly took this set of wedding photos with Ethan. As soon as she got the photos, she had them thrown in the trash. But she knew that Ethan had always treasured these photos. Not only that, he also treasured the few things they had that connected them in this box. The password was their wedding date. Seeing this, Scarlett finally believed that Ethan was truly gone. She suddenly collapsed to the floor, clutching her chest, gasping for breath. Her heart felt as if an invisible hand was squeezing it tightly, pressing her until she could barely breathe. She was the one who had killed Ethan. It was all her fault. All her fault. In the following days, Scarlett was in a daze. She stopped going to the company and neglected her son. She spent her days in the staff quarters, where I used to live, drinking herself into oblivion, glass after glass. Grandma couldn't bear to watch any longer. She called Scarlett over. "Respect the deceased. You should arrange a proper funeral for Ethan." At my funeral, Scarlett wore a black dress, her eyes swollen like walnuts. Having married into the Vance family, I had almost no relatives or friends there. The funeral was very somber. But unexpectedly, Dylan also came. He deliberately wore a bright red suit, holding Leo's hand, and tried to embrace Scarlett. "Scarlett, this is great. Ethan's dead. We can finally be together openly." Dylan saw Scarlett's swollen eyes and spoke with a pained expression. "It's okay, there's no one else here, baby. You don't have to pretend. Look how red your eyes are from crying. It breaks my heart." But the next second, Scarlett coldly pushed him away. She stared at Dylan's dazzling red suit. "Get out." Dylan was stunned. "Scarlett, what did you say?" "I said, get out." Scarlett pointed at Dylan and Leo, her eyes red with anger. "Dylan, today is Ethan's funeral. He died drinking for you. Do you have any conscience? Are you even human? And you, Leo, he's your father. Is it appropriate for you to wear such festive clothes at your father's funeral?" Others who heard Scarlett's words looked at them with strange glances. The two instantly flushed red, frozen in place. Dylan wanted to argue. "It's not like that, Scarlett. I was just so excited thinking we could finally get married." Leo also stammered, "I'm sorry, Mommy, but you said before that he wasn't my daddy." Scarlett adjusted the bouquet on her chest and spoke to Dylan. "When did I say I was going to marry you? Ethan just died, and you're already so eager to take his place. Or are you glad he's dead? Dylan, I never realized you were this kind of person." Then she pulled Leo's hand and had someone take him away. "Leo, are you my son or his son?" Do you have any sense? If you want to stay in the Vance family, go back and change your clothes. Don't embarrass yourself here. And remember, Ethan is your father." Scarlett threw down these words, then turned back and knelt before my grave. The two were surprised by the drastic change in Scarlett's attitude. Dylan still wanted to explain, but Grandma ordered her bodyguards to drag him away. Scarlett knelt until evening, finally collapsing. Grandma was heartbroken and immediately called for a family doctor and a nutritionist to take care of her, but seemed to be self-torturing. Whenever she woke up, she would sneak out and kneel before my grave. Regardless of wind or rain, Grandma sent people to bring her back many times, but was very firm. She said she wanted to atone for her sins. Scarlett fainted again and again, and her health deteriorated. Grandma finally couldn't bear it anymore, and brought her back. "Scarlett, don't kneel anymore. Your body can't take it." "Oh, never mind. Grandma will just tell you. Ethan, he's actually not dead." Meanwhile, I had been in Switzerland for over a month. Just as Grandma had said, my sister Zoe was also brought to Switzerland. She received excellent medical care and education. Watching her gradually recover, walking independently with her prosthetics, I showed the first genuine smile I had in 7 years. A smile of immense relief, free of burden. The $80 million Grandma mentioned had also been transferred to my account. The moment I received the transfer, I donated half to a charity foundation, hoping to help those in need. I also gained a job opportunity from it. At the interview, I discovered that the interviewer was the head of the charity foundation I had donated to. He was very surprised. After looking at my resume, he immediately decided to hire me. "Mr. Vance, your resume is excellent. You graduated from a prestigious university, and have managed so many large projects. You are a perfect fit for our company. And most importantly, your character is invaluable. That's what we value most at our company. Congratulations on joining us." He extended his hand, and smiled slightly. I looked at him, and returned a sincere smile. I never expected such a coincidence. The interviewer was the head of the charity foundation I donated to. I thought, given the job market, I'd have to interview at a dozen more companies. Perhaps it was good karma. Your kindness will eventually return to you. Watching, who could now walk independently with her prosthetics, I beamed with a heartfelt smile. My life was gradually getting back on track. My home-work rehab routine. Life was busy yet fulfilling. Scarlett had completely become a thing of the past for me. Recently, I had taken on a major project, and worked late every day. Until one day, as I turned off the lights, preparing to go home, I saw a familiar figure downstairs at the company building. It was Scarlett. She was incredibly thin, holding an umbrella. Her slender figure almost melted into the rainy night. Seeing me, she excitedly ran forward, and threw herself into my arms. "Ethan, I finally found you." Feeling her familiar scent, I frowned, frozen in place. After a long moment, I calmly pushed her away. "Why are you here? Didn't Grandma say she would fake my death by alcohol poisoning after I left? How did Scarlett find me? And wasn't my leaving supposed to make it easier for her, Dylan, and Leo to reunite as a family of 3? Why was she looking for me now?" Scarlett didn't expect me to be so cold. Her eyes glistened with tears. She hugged me tightly. "Grandma told me everything. Ethan, come back with me. You are still the master of the Vance family." Hearing's nonsensical words, I chuckled softly. Master? I had married into the Vance family for 7 years, and besides Grandma, not even the household staff had ever given me a kind look. Now was telling me to be the master of the Vance family. How ironic. Do you think I care about that? I pushed Scarlett away again, speaking coldly. Then what do you care about? Aren't you just jealous because I paid more attention to Dylan than to you? I've only now realized your silent dedication to me all these years. Ethan, please come home with me. Scarlett looked up, confused. I turned my head and said softly, "Didn't Grandma tell you? My marriage to you was only to repay her life-saving kindness. It had nothing to do with you. 7 years ago, Dylan abandoned you and Leo and went abroad for another woman. You cried yourself sick, and I was just a stand-in Grandma found to cheer you up, nothing more. Scarlett didn't believe it and retorted, "Then why did you treasure our wedding photos? Can you honestly say you didn't feel anything for me?" Hearing this, I was silent for a moment. Then I said, "Even if I did, what does it matter? Did you ever feel anything for me? What were you doing when Dylan deliberately forced me to drink?" Scarlett's words did hit home. But so what? As a recent college graduate, I married my benefactor's granddaughter. I felt anxious, I felt lost. To say I didn't feel anything for Scarlett at all, how could that be possible? I used to secretly fantasize. If I had never returned to the country, would I have been able to openly take care of her for the rest of my life? Even if she wasn't that good to me. But my dream didn't last long. Dylan returned. Scarlett's attitude towards me became even worse, and even Leo would secretly curse me behind my back. They deliberately slashed my suit before meetings, added acid to my comforter, and poured glue into my shoes. I had thought about withdrawing sooner, leaving sooner, but I always held onto a flicker of hope for Scarlett in my heart until she allowed Dylan to openly humiliate me and force me out of the company when I made up my mind to ask Grandma to end our 7-year agreement. As of today, I no longer held any lingering affection for Scarlett. Let it go, we were nothing more than a contractual couple. Marriage must be built on a foundation of love and being loved. I left those words behind and walked away. A light March rain drizzled, falling behind me, sealing away all memories. I thought this matter would end there, and Scarlett would return home. But unexpectedly, the next day, on my way to take Zoe to her special school, I ran into Scarlett waiting outside my house. Her gaze fell on my hand holding Zoe's. She suddenly lunged forward like a madwoman, forcefully separating Zoe and me. "Well, Ethan, I thought you were so devoted. Turns out you found someone new abroad. That's why you heartlessly faked your death and abandoned me." I was stunned by her twisting of facts. How could she always so easily say the most hurtful things, without ever reflecting on her own mistakes? Seeing my silence, Scarlett continued, "She's disabled. How can she compare to me? Are you unwilling to come back to the country with me, even for her?" Scarlett's eyes were red, and she looked at me with a wronged expression. "Scarlett, that's enough. She's my sister. Brother, she was the one who hit me with her car while drunk that year." Zoe's and my voices rang out simultaneously. I turned in surprise, looking at Zoe's pained face. "What did you say?" Zoe's trembling voice responded, "Brother, I wouldn't forget. It was her. After she hit me, she got out to check. She clearly heard me calling for help, but then she got back in her car and drove over my legs again. My leg was amputated because of her." Zoe's voice was filled with extreme anger, every word piercing my heart. Looking at Scarlett's panicked expression, I instantly knew it was all true. I had married the person who had crippled my sister, the hit-and-run driver who was drunk, and I foolishly spent 7 years with her. Everything made sense now. No wonder Grandma always looked at me with such pity in her eyes. I had thought she pitied Zoe, but I never imagined she was pitying me. No wonder she insisted on transferring another $80 million to me after I left. "Ethan," Scarlett parted her lips, about to say something more, but I cut her off sharply. "So your whole family was deceiving me. Is it amusing to toy with people's feelings? It's not like that. I didn't know that was your sister. I didn't mean to." Scarlett's face was ashen as she desperately shook her head. I looked at her, my eyes filled with deep disappointment and disgust. "Even if she weren't my sister, you shouldn't have hit her. Scarlett, I used to think Grandma forced you to marry me, and you hated it, which was why you treated me the way you did. But now I know that you are fundamentally corrupt, your business-like selfishness long etched into your very DNA." With that, I ignored Scarlett as she fell to the ground and pulled Zoe away. After dropping Zoe off at school, I immediately transferred the remaining $4,000 back to Grandma. I had repaid enough of the Vance family's favors. I never wanted to see anyone from the Vance family again. I next heard news of Scarlett at the celebration party for the successful completion of my new project. Just as I was about to go on stage to speak, I saw a domestic news report. Vance announced bankruptcy and reorganization, and the eldest daughter of the Vance family publicly repented her past transgressions on social media. It turned out that after Scarlett returned to the country, she had been despondent. She paid no attention to Vance operations. Dylan, as the company's deputy, made decisions directly in Scarlett's stead, which led to a massive financial hole in the company. Resentment festered among the employees, but no one dared to speak up. By the time Scarlett discovered it, there was no longer any possibility of salvage. Partners demanded to terminate contracts and compensation for their losses. Scarlett panicked. It was then that she realized my worth. Although I had become a live-in son-in-law and directly joined Vance, my professional and business capabilities were exceptionally strong. If only manager were here, someone sighed. Only then did Scarlett realize. Yes, if only Ethan were here. But everything was already set in stone, with no possibility of turning back. She was utterly disgusted with Dylan, and her former boundless affection and tolerance for him were gone. She publicly lashed out at him, in front of the media. Dylan felt humiliated and instigated Leo to speak favorably of him to Scarlett, pushing all the blame onto me, who had already resigned. But this time, Scarlett disgustedly pushed him away. I'll always be your backup, and even my former husband has to clean up your mess. Dylan, you are a spineless coward who wants to have it all. After the company went bankrupt, the Vance was also mortgaged. Scarlett, with Leo, arranged to meet Dylan on the company rooftop. Dylan thought Scarlett still had hidden assets and wanted to take him abroad. But unexpectedly, Scarlett suddenly, in a fit of madness, pushed him off the rooftop. Then, pulling a wailing Leo with her, she jumped down too. However, the three did not die. Instead, they fell, breaking their arms and legs, landing on a third-floor platform. When they were taken to the hospital by ambulance, Scarlett resentfully stared at the two men she had once loved most. Why didn't people like you just die? Later, Scarlett was sent to a mental institution. Dylan and Leo both became disabled, condemned to spend the rest of their lives in bed. Upon hearing this news, Scarlett meticulously carved Ethan's everlasting onto the hospital wall, stroke by stroke. She told everyone it was her son's name, claiming it meant true love was eternal and that Ethan would forever miss Scarlett. Learning all this, I couldn't help but frown deeply. I never imagined Scarlett's personality could be so extremely obsessive and deranged. She actually pulled her own son with her as she jumped from the building. Brother, what are you looking at? Everyone's waiting for you to go on stage and give your speech. Zhao's voice echoed in my ear. Only then did I realize how long I had been spacing out. I quickly apologized to everyone. Just before I went on stage, Zoe suddenly grabbed my hand and whispered, "Brother, perhaps in Scarlett's eyes, what you can't have is what you want most. Whether it's you or Dylan. Just remember, all of this is her own damn fault." I looked at Zoe's calm eyes and nodded heavily. The human heart is small. It can only truly hold one person. Now, I just want to live my own life well.